So it's all yours, Renee.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. My name is Renee Afryka. I am a nutritionist at Giant. I am going to share my uh, window. Give me one second. I just shared it, so I know it's working. Here we go. Okay, so like I said, my name is Renee Africa. I am a nutritionist at Giant, and I'm going to be talking to you today about healthy eating on a budget. So just a little bit about Giant. If you haven't shopped there before, hopefully you are a shopper at Giant, but Giant is very committed to the health of its customers. So if you are interested in taking that wellness walk and making changes, healthy changes, we are here to support you. And you're going to learn a lot of the ways that we support you, if that is what you, in fact, want to do in your wellness journeys. So, today we are going to talk about some basics of nutrition. So, some basic information that you can use whenever you're going shopping to make sure you're choosing the products that are best for your health. And then we're going to talk about shopping for and saving on nutrient rich foods. And then we're also going to talk a little bit about some meals that you can make, some easy meals that you can make at the end. While we're going through this presentation, I want you to feel free to type things in the chat. I'm going to ask you questions, so I hope you're ready to answer questions. So ask those questions. Do you have anything to share? I know I learned so much from you, just as much as you're going to learn things from me. So please, if you have something to share, share it in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. And again, feel free to ask any questions as I'm talking along, and write those questions in the chat. All right. So let's get started with nutrition, basic nutrition. So we're going to do a little fun food group guessing game, a little fun with the basics. You can see that this is called the Healthy Eating Plate. It's issued by Harvard University. And I'm going to ask you a few questions about this plate. So when you look at this plate, you see the green section. What is the green food group on this healthy eating plate? What does that represent? And Gary, if you can help me out if anyone
Okay.
responds.
Okay, we got vegetables, fruit and vegetables,
Good.
fruits and vegetables.
Awesome. Okay, so the green absolutely is vegetable. So we're going to reveal what that is. Awesome. Okay, what is the red fruit group? I heard it already, but let's just reinforce. What
Oh,
do
I
we
guess
think
that
that? Mhm.
fruit.
You got it. Whoever said fruit, that's it. So vegetables and fruit. So you can see half your plate, half of what you're eating in a day ideally should be fruits and vegetables. That's what's recommended at least. Okay, what do we think the brown food group is? Any guesses there? Should
Seeing meat, red meat.
Close. I guess I could say that. It's actually whole grains. And I'm going to go ahead, since you already said it, I'm going to go ahead and tell you what the orange food group is, because that is your healthy protein, which is where your meats would be fall. So when you're thinking about foods, healthy, when you're thinking about what you're eating throughout the day, most of your food should fall into these categories, right? So that's an important thing to remember. And what do we think is in the blue glass?
Say water.
You got it. Water. I know there's lots of drinking options out there, but you do not need anything else to drink aside from water, because you can get all the nutrition you need from vegetables, fruits, whole grains, and healthy proteins. And what do we see? What do we think the yellow bottle is?
Oil, healthy fats, olive oil, vegetable oil.
Excellent. Healthy oils. Wow, this group is really good. Okay, so people usually don't get that one. So yes,
So,
healthy.
Renee, we've got a couple of comments here that this
Sure.
looks like the same food group plate that we've been seeing for 50 years.
Mhm,
And the government has recently redone, the food pyramid and the plate and all that.
mhm.
Can you compare and contrast this with what the federal government is putting out?
Absolutely. So that's a complicated question. What I will say about the pyramid, the upside down pyramid, is that they're recommending that most of your calories come from proteins, like quote unquote healthy proteins. And so, however, a lot of the proteins that they recommend have a lot of saturated fat. And the government also recommends less than 10% of your calories coming from saturated fat. So there's a little bit of a, I don't know the word, is it a conundrum? There's a little bit of a, I don't want to say contradiction. It's hard to use that upside down plate just because the top the top part of the pyramid, the upside down pyramid, is recommending foods that are not consistent with the government guidelines. So we try to just use a plate, this healthy eating plate. Like I said, it's issued by the Harvard University because it clarifies all of that. Because we get questions about, well, I thought you were only supposed to eat 10% healthy fat, saturated fats, and then this says that if we're eating all these proteins that have the saturated fat, then we're going to go above that. So to like eliminate that confusion, we decided to use the Harvard Healthy Eating Plate, which is very similar, has very similar guidelines, just proportioned a little differently. It still includes all the food groups that the upside down pyramid incorporates, just in a different way. So yeah, so it's a little interesting. I appreciate the question. It's a little complicated, but this kind of simplifies it and makes it easier for us as nutritionists to put the information out there without having to get into those questions that we will inevitably get um, about the recommendations. I hope that clarifies things. I don't know
Yep,
if it.
and we've got one additional comment that
Sure.
everything in moderation is probably the best policy.
Exactly. That's a great point. Yeah. So So we have these are your food groups. Focusing on these food groups is important. And then, of course, we have the red person, the running, and that represents being active. So let's just not forget that being active is also part of healthy eating. So, what does this mean in terms of savings? I know I hear a lot about people saying like it's more expensive now to eat healthy. And I'm here to kind of debunk that because it's actually in many ways, there's ways to really, really save when we're talking about choosing healthy foods. So the first thing I want to say is focusing on food groups. So going back to our healthy eating plate, if again, most of the foods on your plate or that you're eating throughout the day should fall within these categories. Once you start buying foods outside of these categories, that's just going to add dollars, right? You're just going to get dollars added to your food bill, and you don't necessarily need those calories. Somebody said eating in moderation, that's fine. To eat those extra foods that don't necessarily fall within this category. But remember, when you do add those extra foods, it's going to add money to your bill. So I like to encourage people to focus on the food groups. And then as you're focusing on the food groups, plan around the weekly ad. So Giant has a circular we issue every week. Choose, and you can see this particular circular. It has fruits and vegetables. It has your proteins on sale for the week. So you can use this ad as a way to plan for the rest of the week so that you're choosing all the foods that are on sale and you're getting the best prices. These strawberries, $2.99. I know last time I went into the store, they had blueberries on sale for $1.99 for a pint, which is a fantastic price. So using these ads is really, really powerful way to save a lot of money, especially if you're trying to choose healthy foods and eat healthy foods. Another way to save money at Giant is going for the Giant brand. So when you see, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't have a picture of the Giant brand in here, but I'll show you. I have one coming up. But if you look at, there's a little picture of a fruit basket with the Giant logo. If you're familiar with it's right here. You can see it here. If that's on the package, if it's a Giant brand, the quality of the food is just as good. It just costs less. So I like to encourage people to choose the Giant brand because you can save a lot, and the quality is just as good, if not better sometimes. I know some people who use the Giant brand and they're like, this Giant brand product is better than the brand name product. So just because it's a brand name doesn't mean that it's not as good as the other products. And then if you're tech savvy, when you're shopping, if you're shopping online, or if you want to, if that's something that you do, you can sort by the brand in the on giantfood.com if that's something that you like to do. So easy to shop by brand in store and online. And then also, if you do not have a flexible rewards account at Giant, I highly, highly encourage you to get a flexible rewards account. Basically, every time, if you get a rewards account, every time you make a purchase, you get points. And then those points at the end of the month or whenever you want to redeem them, you have to use them within the month, but you get dollars off of your groceries or gas. So it's a really great way to save more money. I know last time I was talking about flexible rewards, and somebody said, last time I had $40 in flexible rewards. So literally, like, they went to the grocery store, they redeemed their flexible rewards, and they got $40 off of their grocery bill. So it's a great way to save. I'm constantly getting $20, $25 off my grocery bill just because, the points add up so quickly. So highly encourage you to get a Giant flexible rewards account so you can get all those savings in there. Any questions about anything I just talked about? Okay, so the other thing I wanted to talk to you about is what we call guiding stars. So guiding stars is a very easy, quick way to identify if a food is healthy or not. So at Giant, so when you go into Giant, if you're in the cereal aisle, let's say, and you're like, I don't know, I don't feel like reading nutrition labels. This is all overwhelming. I don't know which one is the healthiest one to choose. All you have to do is buy the price tag, look to see if a particular product has one of these stars. If it has one of these, 1, 2, or 3 of these stars, that means that it's the most nutrient-rich choice in that particular product category. So if it has 1 star, that means it has good nutritional value. If it has 2 stars, it has better nutritional value. If it has 3 stars, that means it has the best nutritional value. So look for those stars, and this is what it might look like in your particular Giant when you go into when you're shopping at Giant. So, and if you're wondering, there's they categorize these foods based on these vitamins, minerals, fibers, whole grains, and your healthy fats. If it has more of these and less of these, saturated fat, trans fat, sodium, sugars, and artificial colors, then if it has more of the good nutrition and less of the not so good nutrition, then it's eligible for a star. So it's a great way to determine if the food in that particular category is healthy or not. A good choice for you. Any questions about guiding stars? Okay.
Are those only for Giant brand products, or do you have that guidance for a whole range?
Every product that's sold in Giant Food is checked to be eligible for a star. So yeah, so it's not just Giant Food. It's every brand name, every store, every product in Giant? Yep, that's a great question. Um, and in some cases, if you have a Giant Flex Rewards account, you can earn double Flex Rewards when you purchase foods with Guiding Stars. So it's like on top of Giant giving you this access to this easy way to identify these healthy foods, you also can earn double the Flex Reward, so you can get those dollars for your gas or your groceries. Great program I think we have here. So I want to talk a little bit about produce and choosing produce. And we're going to start with vegetables. So two types of vegetables. There's the non-starchy vegetables, and then there are the starchy vegetables. The non-starchy vegetables is just as we say, they're vegetables that don't have little or no starch. And these are some examples of non-starchy vegetables: your leafy greens, peppers, tomatoes, zucchini, broccoli, cauliflower. All these are considered non-starchy vegetables. We like to say eat the rainbow. Anybody want to guess why we say eat the rainbow? Why do you think it's important to eat different colored fruits and vegetables?
So you get a full range of nutrients.
Excellent. That's it. Every color represents a different type of nutrient, different type of antioxidant, vitamin, or mineral. And if you eat the different colors, you're going to get a nice range of different types of nutrients to make sure you're getting all the nutrition you need. So, just a little activity. We don't have to do it now, but just think about what are 3 different colored vegetables you and your family can eat in a day, or if it's just you, what are 3 different colored vegetables you can eat? And if that seems a little overwhelming for you, start with 1 or 2 vegetables, and thinking about, like, okay, if I eat carrots, I can also do green beans, or if I do leafy green vegetables, I can also do tomatoes. So start thinking in that term, in that way, and then that will help to make it a little bit easier when you're choosing your fruits and vegetables for the week. So half your plate, eat liberally. These are foods, one of the only foods where I'm saying eat as much as you want. There's very little calories, there's lots of fiber, lots of nutrition, and it's just one of the best things you can do for your health. And a lot of people ask me questions about frozen, fresh, or canned. All are fair game. Yes, the fresh is going to have the peak nutrition. Frozen, actually, a lot of people don't realize when fruits and vegetables are frozen, they're froze at peak nutrient level. And once you freeze those vegetables or fruits, you're not losing those nutrients. Those nutrients are sealed in because they're frozen. And so frozen is also a really great option. And a lot of times, especially in the winter time, when the prices start going up, when the produce that's not in season, it's a great way to save. So don't be afraid to go for the frozen, and even the canned fruits, vegetables are still really good. So all forms are good. Also, something you may or may not be aware of are like new and different trendy types of fruits and vegetables. So there's something called zoodles. Zoodles is just basically zucchini that are spiralized into noodles. And I know some people like to use them instead of like spaghetti or other different types of pasta, or whatever you would use spaghetti noodles for, you can use zucchini noodles for. Cauliflower rice, that's a really thing. Some people like to use that in place. Cauliflower rice as a rice, that's a really great option. And then there's the salad kits. I get a lot of questions about whether salad kits are good. I say look at they're absolutely good. I eat them all the time. And if you're really, really concerned about whether they're nutrient rich, again, look for the guiding stars. So those were the non-starchy vegetables. Now let's talk about starchy vegetables. What are some starchy vegetables that you can think of that you might be eating right now? What do you think are included in that starchy vegetable category?
Potatoes, 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 potatoes.
Yes, potatoes, in case you didn't hear it. So we have potatoes, we have parsnips, sweet potatoes. We also have things like squash, winter squash, like butternut squash, acorn squash, pumpkin is a really great starchy vegetable. And starchy vegetables are really good because they have lots of fiber, which is good for if you eat the skin. For example, if you eat the skin of the potatoes, you're going to get the skin is good for digestive health, weight management, cholesterol, blood sugar, and a lot more. So it's a good way to get good nutrition in there. Frozen is fair game when you're talking about vegetables. A lot of people say corn is not good, it has no nutrition, but corn is actually very nutrient rich. Lots of fiber, lots of vitamins and minerals. So don't be afraid of corn. Don't be afraid of peas. They're all really good for you. And again, the frozen vegetables are a lot easier to use. And you can see here this little giant icon here. Again, choose the giant icon, foods with the giant icon, and you're going to save right off the bat, save lots and lots of money. The only thing I would caution about with starchy vegetables is watching your portion sizes. And I'll show you what that looks like in the next slide. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, watching your portion sizes, because with not starchy vegetables, you do have a lot of carbs compacted in there. So the recommendation for starchy vegetables is about a half a cup if you're going to eat those. So when we're talking about fruit, same idea. You want to watch, you want to eat a variety of fruits and vegetables, check out those savings for the week. Fresh fruits are great, wonderful, fantastic, but so are the frozen versions. Again, we have the giant icon there, so you can save even more. And of course, we have our canned vegetables, which our fruits are also good for you. So another way to save is buying in bulk if you can. I understand that everyone can't buy the bigger bags, but oftentimes the bigger bags are going to be a better deal. So if you look for the 3 or 5 pound bags of apples, it'll be less per apple if you buy it that way. So just consider that. Any questions about fruits and vegetables before we move on to meats and seafood?
Well, I know that a lot of canned fruits are packed in syrup, which is going to add a huge amount of sugar.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Great question. Okay, so you want to look for those that are packed in either water or packed in real fruit juice. And the way to determine that, once again, is our guiding star. So when you're shopping the shelves and you're looking at these, the guiding stars is not the products with the syrup are not going to have a guiding star. So again, that's an easy way to identify that. But if you want to just look for it yourself, just look for the ones that are packed in real fruit juice or water. So you can see here, these mandarin oranges are packed in 100% fruit juices. This one is packed in pineapple juice, and this is packed in pear juice. So yes, the fruit juice is the way to go.
we have a comment here that there are a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables that aren't familiar to a lot of people.
Mhm,
If you look at some of the more exotic fruits that are out there,
mhm.
and they're saying it would be helpful if there were signs posted with serving suggestions.
Like serving size suggestions or how
No, I
to.
mean, do you cook this? Do you peel it and eat it? What does it
Yes.
go well with?
Yeah, that's a good suggestion. Yeah, I believe that there may be occasionally that option there, especially like if it's a nutritionist pick, because we do have what we call nutritionist picks every so often in the stores. So that's another thing you can look out for. And then sometimes the information like that will be on there, but not for everyone. So that's a good suggestion. I'll pass that on to our management. Any other questions?
Yeah, we've got a question here about whether genetically modified fruits and vegetables are safe to eat and are non-organic produce safe compared to organic, or when is it worth paying the extra money to buy the organic produce?
Those are all great questions. So, one thing I don't think people realize is how few genetically modified foods there are in the produce section. So, genetically modified foods are basically limited to soy, some apple, not even all apples, but like a few apples. And then there's another one I'm thinking of. I can't think of off the top of my
There's
head.
some tomatoes that are GMO.
Tomatoes, not so much. It's soy, a few apples. I know papaya, which is exotic, and then there's one more I can't think of off the top of my head. So that's one thing. And the reason why it's such an issue is because I'm sorry, corn. Corn's the other one. And the reason why you get a lot of buzz about it is because corn is used in a lot of products that are on the shelves. So when you're thinking about produce like grapes and what you see here, strawberries, those are not going to be genetically modified. As far as if the products that are genetically modified are safer or not, there's just not enough evidence for me to say yes or no. I think they're fairly new in the market with regards to how long we've been eating them, and there's not enough research to really say like these are safe, perfectly safe to eat, and all of that. But at the same time, we also can't say they're horrible for you. Like don't eat them at all. So I say proceed with caution when you're thinking about genetically mod if that's a concern for you. Modified. As far as, organic versus non-organic, the nutrients in the non-organics are going to be override the pesticides that you're going to find in the non-organic foods. So I would say if that's all you can afford is the bell peppers or the bananas that are non-organic, go for it because you're still going to get that nutrition. But if you can go for the organic, go for the organic. You won't get the pesticides, and it is a really great option as well. So highly, if you can go for the organic, go for it.
Now, I've read that if you're buying um, produce that you're going to be peeling before you eat it, there's no reason to buy organic because any pesticides on the non-organic you're going to peel away. Is that correct?
So yes, some, not all. You are going to get rid of some of those pesticides, but you're also going to get rid of the nutrition that's in the skin, which has a lot of great fiber and the deep red colors in the apples and all of that, and the pears. There's a lot of good nutrition in there, and that's what you really want. So yeah, so it's unfortunately you have to like choose. But for me, I buy, you know conventionally grown if the organic is not available, and if the organic is available, I'll buy the organic. I also, and this is just my personal like how I go do how I purchase foods. There's a clean, I don't know if you've ever heard of the clean 15 versus a dirty dozen. The clean 15 fruits and vegetables are supposed to have less pesticides. So if you buy those conventionally grown, those are things like avocado and celery, things like that. Those don't have as much pesticides anyway. So those are fine to purchase, not being organic. So yeah, so there's a lot of things that go into it, but in general, I don't worry too much about it. It's just a matter of just minimizing how many pesticides are in my food, in my fruits and vegetables. But again, the nutrients in the fruits and vegetables override that anyway. So you're good. Okay. Moving on to meat and seafood. So I like to recommend choosing lower saturated fat options because meats that are higher in saturated fats are associated with heart disease. So choosing things like turkey, chicken, or fish are really, really great options. Um, and roasting, baking, steaming, or grilling, those are really great options in terms of how you cook your meats over frying, because frying you don't get the extra saturated fat from that frying process. And then again, if you're choosing meats, look for the giant brands. Those are going to save you. You're going to save more money using the giant brand than purchasing the other items. Nature's Promise is also a giant brand, so you can check the prices on that as well. If you do choose foods, meats and seafoods that are higher in saturated fat, you can choose the leaner cuts. Again, this is ground beef. This one is 90% lean, 7% fat. Again, don't forget to look for the guiding stars because you'll see the guiding stars to help you choose the healthier options. And then another savings tip, we're talking about savings. You want to look for the manager special. So when you see a manager special, great way to save, stock up, put it in the freezer. So once you put meat in the freezer, it lasts for years. So as long as it stays frozen, don't take it out the freezer and put it back in the freezer. But you basically, the manager specials are when the sell by date. The sell by date does not mean the expiration date. It just means that it's the date that that has been established that this product should be sold by. So if you buy it by that date and put it in the freezer, you're good. You can save it for the next few months and you'll be good. Even like I said, the year, but hopefully you're eating it up within that month. So look for those manager specials. It's a great way to save. Any questions about meat and seafood?
Yeah, there's a question here. Where does pork loin fit in terms of fat or, lean?
Great question. Pork is more in the leaner, on the leaner side of things. Still, you have to be cautious with pork. It's somewhere between ground beef and chicken, turkey, and fish, right? So somewhere right in between, leaning more so towards the chicken, turkey, and fish. But again, look for the guiding stars. If you're trying to choose the healthiest pork choice, look for the guiding stars.
And we also had a question of you mentioned the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen.
Mhm.
Where is that information available?
So there's a group, it's called the Environmental Working Group. It's a nonprofit organization. So if you go to their website, you can find more information about that.
Okay. Now, talking about fish, you go to the grocery store and there's the fish counter with all this fresh fish on it.
Hmm.
But I've read that there's really no such thing unless you live right on the seacoast, that fish gets frozen on the boat and shipped frozen, and then it gets thawed out in the store as opposed. So why would you buy that instead of buying the same fish that's been frozen the whole time?
Well, it depends on the packer. So not all companies do it the same way. So you have to, that's something I wouldn't be able to tell you like which packer does what. I personally don't eat fish just because I just don't eat it. So I'm not familiar with like what companies pack which fish options or not. But if that is a concern of yours, you can do canned fish, and that's another good option. And it's also it could be more affordable. It's easier to store, so that's another option. So yeah, unfortunately, I don't know, and I don't know how you could find, how each packer does their what the process is to get it to the grocery store, but it is something. It's not a safety issue if that's your concern. And again, if you want to choose the healthier option, you can look for the guiding star. Any other questions about meats and seafood?
Yeah, are farm raised fish and seafoods like salmon safe to eat? Should I
Mhm,
look for more wild caught fish
mhm.
as opposed to
So,
ones raised in fish farms?
so I'll say this about items, topics like that. If it's on the grocery store shelf, it's safe to eat. Now, the question is, if you're eating a lot of it and over time, is it going to impact your health differently than something else, than another particular food like the farm raised versus the wild caught? Then that's something to consider. Um, the wild caught is believed to have less mercury levels, especially in the smaller fish options. So like things like mackerel, salmon, those are going to have lower mercury levels because they're smaller fish. The bigger fish, like the shark and things like that, are going to have more mercury levels. But in general, the food is going to be safe. If you're concerned, limit your fish options to once a week. Recommendations in general and for fish is 2 servings per week. So if you do choose that as an option, that 2 servings a meat week is going to get you the healthy fats that you need. And it's not going to increase your risk for exposure to things like mercury. So I think it's worth, if you have the money, like go for the extra wild caught options, but you're also safe if you don't have enough money to purchase the wild caught. Okay. Any other questions about that?
I
Okay.
think
Oh,
so.
okay. So when we're talking about savings, I'm moving us back to savings and shopping on a budget. A lot of people don't know what the unit price is. So I wanted to bring that to your attention. And the unit price is a way to determine the deal without having to do the math. You know how you see two products, it's the same product and they're two different sizes, and you're standing up there and you're like, I don't know which one is a better deal. Sometimes I used to, before I learned about the unit price, I used to like take out my calendar and be like, okay, this is a better deal. So I'm going to get this one. Usually the bigger one was the better deal. But if you look at this number right here, I don't know if any of you have seen this number or paid attention to this number, but that is called the unit price. And that unit price will tell you how much a particular item costs per unit. So in this case, this product is $9.58 per pound. And so that's how much that particular product is going to cost per pound. Now, if you compare it with the same exact product in a different size, this price here, it might be a different price. And so whatever the lower price item or the lowest unit price is going to be the better deal. So even though the product might cost a little bit more, the price per unit is going to be cheaper. So it's actually a better deal. So I like to use that as a way to determine, like, am I saving on this? So it's a nice little tip that you can use. Is that clear? I don't know if I made that clear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although one pet peeve I have with unit pricing is you look at the one and it's $9.58 per pound. You look at the other one and it's what's the price per ounce or some other unit. The units are different, so you'd still have to pull out your calculator and figure
Is
it
that
out.
for the same product though?
Well, let's say I'm looking at two different peanut butters from different manufacturers.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
use different units.
Yeah, so this is only if you're comparing the same product. You're right. Like if it's a different manufacturer, then it might be a different unit. So then that's when you have to use it. But yeah, if you're just talking about Peter Pan versus Peter Pan, then you'll be able to use it. Yeah, that's a good point. Good point. Okay. So let's move on to the center aisles. I know that it's a popular for us to think like, oh, we should just shop the perimeter because that's where all your nutrient-rich foods are, and that is very true. But I like to say, if you don't shop the center aisles, where are you going to get your grains? Where are you going to get your healthy proteins? Where are you going to get your hydration? So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So grains, of course, include things like quinoa, oats, barley, rice, pastas, and bread. Quinoa is a really great option, way to diversify your grains. The grains that you're getting into your diet has lots of protein. I'm sorry.
I think that's just random noise.
Oh, okay. Then we have so quinoa is filled with protein, one of the most protein rich grains that there are out there. And we have our whole grains versus the refined grains. Does anybody know the difference between a whole grain and a refined grain? Why do you? I know we hear often like whole grains, choose your whole grains. Is there anybody who knows the difference?
That you still have the bran included in the flour that the product's made from?
Absolutely, right? So if you look at this picture here, this is a picture of a whole grain. And you can see it has the bran, the germ, and the endosperm. So that means it has the fiber, it has protein. Even the germ has the protein, healthy fats. It has vitamins, B vitamins, vitamin E, all types of nutrition in there. And then you have your endosperm, which is basically carbohydrates. So that's your whole grain. When you eat whole grains, you're getting all of that nutrition. When you choose the non-whole grains, you're still going to get nutrition, but you're not going to get the bran and the germ. So it's mostly just carbohydrates. You're not going to have the fiber. You're not going to have the protein, the healthy fats, and all of that. So that's why we encourage people to try to choose the whole grains. They're also very affordable, and it's an easy way to fill up, especially if you're choosing the whole grain, because that fiber, it fills you up faster and you're less likely to eat as much. So really great idea to consider whole grains. One way to consider whole grains, to look for whole grains, is to look for the whole grain stamp. You can see these whole wheat tortillas have the whole 100% whole grain stamp. Another easy way to determine if your food is a good, a healthier option. Of course, these are going to have your guiding stars, so you can look for your guiding stars. You also want to watch your portion sizes when it comes to whole grains. I don't know if you go to Chipotle or when you go to restaurants and then you have a dish, like a whatever it might be, a burrito or burrito bowl or something like that. You see they give you tons and tons of the rice and the grains. Ideally, you want to do 1/4. Remember the picture of the healthy plate. Ideally, you want 1/4 of your plate to be the grain. So just not overdoing it on the grains. And that's for the same reason that we want to watch our portion size with the starchy vegetables. It is a lot of carbs. It can add up. So it's really, really, really good for you, but you still want to watch it in moderation. And also there's new like grain pastas that like the red lentil and chickpea pastas. And those, because they're just made with like lentils or chickpeas, you can actually consider those proteins as well, carbohydrates and protein. So really there's lots of great options out there for you to choose if you want to do grains.
I have a question here. Is brown rice better than white rice?
Yes, because it depends. So it has lots of uh, fiber, and again, it's going to have those vitamins and minerals in there that you're not going to get from white rice. But also, there's a concern about some of the arsenic levels in. This is something that I know a lot of people are concerned about. Again, it's not going to be on the market if it's not safe for you to eat. If you want to minimize the risk, you can do maybe like mix the white or the brown rice, or you can do something like quinoa instead of rice. Again, and you're going to get a lot of protein. You don't have to worry about those arsenic levels. You can do the cauliflower rice, which is a really great way to incorporate more vegetables into your diet. So it's just how much you want to minimize what's going on. They're all safe, but just trying to minimize how much what goes into your body. That's what you want to take into consideration when you're making those choices, if that is a concern for you. But I eat brown rice all the time. So any other questions?
I don't know if you're going to get to this down the road, but what about nuts and seeds?
I am going to get to that, but I will answer it now. So nuts and seeds are fantastic fantastic ways to incorporate protein, fiber, healthy fats, vitamins, and minerals. You get it all in one shot. Um, I know a lot of people are maybe concerned about the calories, but because there's a lot of fiber, what I like to say about that is like when you're choosing nuts and seeds, take your time this is with any food, actually, take your food time and chew the food so that your body can digest the food properly, one, and two, so that your brain can get the signal that you ate. So if you just wolf down like, a bunch of nuts in like less than a minute, then your brain isn't going to get the signal for another 15 minutes that you ate those nuts, and then you will already have eaten like a ton of them. So I say take your time, one or two per, when you're eating, chew it well before you swallow, and that's going to be much better for digestion. It also helps, chewing your food well also helps with like, things like GERD or like acid reflux and things like that. It really is better for your system when you chew your food well. So yeah, 100% nut seeds, do it all day. It's so good for you. I consider them superfoods, but that's another story.
Now, what about chia?
Okay, so I'm going to go through this next slide, and then if you still have those questions, because I'm going to talk about the chia seeds
Right.
as well. So those are great questions. So we talked about the center aisles having your whole grains. So don't skip the center aisles because you have your whole grains. And then you have your proteins, like in the center aisles, we talked about canned salmon, sardines is another really great thing. Food to incorporate. It has calcium because those bones are still in there. Canned chicken is also a great option. So you do have your canned meats, which are 100% fine to eat as well. Ways to save as well, and protein. So you have your proteins, and then you have your proteins with fiber. So the things like green split peas, beans, lentils, chickpeas. Somebody mentioned nuts. We already talked about that. And seeds. So chia, sunflower seeds, etc. Chia seeds are really good because they have omega-3 fats, and those omega-3 fats, along with walnuts, have really great source of omega-3 fats. And all nuts have omega-3 fats, but walnuts are like the star of that show. But chia seeds are fantastic. Omega-3s are really great for your brain health. So highly recommend it. And they're easy. You can just throw them in some water. You can throw them in your oatmeal. You can throw them in wherever. And they're a really great source of healthy fats, fiber, and protein. So, and that's
Hey,
why I say,
Renee, I
mhm,
wanted to let you know we're
sure.
about 9 minutes to 11. So
Okay.
just to give you a
Okay.
time check.
Okay. I think I have a couple more slides. Um, and does that answer for the chia seeds? Does anybody have any other questions about the chia seeds or nuts?
No, I don't see any.
Okay. So just a quick, also in the center aisles, you have your hydration. So make water or unsweetened tea or seltzer water your regular seltzer water, unsweetened seltzer water. You have your homemade iced tea, is easy and more affordable. I like to make homemade fruit and herb infused water. It's another way to save money. You can add lemon, lime, mint, strawberry, basil, all the different types of options. And if you do like 100% juices, make sure it's 100%, right? And then you can buy the ones with the giant logo because those are the more affordable options. And then the recommendation is, less than 1 cup a day, 1 cup or less per day for adults. And I don't know if you have children or grandchildren or anyone around you, less than a half a cup a day for children. Any questions about hydration? Okay. Really quickly about reading the nutrition facts label. When you think about the nutrition facts label, you want to, you want to pay attention to the serving size. Because when you're reading the nutrition facts label, all of this, the saturated fat, the sodium, the carbohydrates, the added sugars, the protein, all those numbers in those particular categories are relevant only to that particular serving. So this particular item, the serving size is a half a cup. And you basically, that 1/2 cup has 1 gram of saturated fat, 3 grams of sodium, 35 grams of total carbohydrates. Now, if I eat a full cup, then I'm going to get 2 grams of saturated fat, 6 milligrams of sodium, and 70 milligrams of total carbohydrates, and so on. So I just wanted to put that out there as a way to help you, like if you're, choosing these healthier options, and or you want to be aware of like what you're taking into your body, just make sure you pay attention to the serving size on Nutrition Facts panel, because it's a really helpful number. And you want to pay attention to saturated fat, sodium, and carbs. And you want to try to make it less than 5%, less than 5% of the total daily value, which is this number here. That's considered a lower number for these particular nutrients. So that's a good type of number to aim for. And over 20% is considered high. So if a particular food item has saturated fats and it's greater than 20% per serving, then that's going to be a lot. So just something to think about. But then again, you have your guiding stars, so you don't really have to worry about this if you shop at Giant. Just a few snacks. Just consider protein and fiber. We talked a lot about some of these, but these are just some snack options for you to consider. Really healthy hummus, almonds, walnuts, fruits, nut butters. All these are totally really good. Greek yogurt or cottage cheese is another good. We didn't really talk about dairy, but those are really great options as well. Other resources, other things you can do to save. Think about food pantries as a way to Giant supports Capital Area Food Bank and the Maryland Food Bank and lots of organizations throughout Virginia. So we support these food pantries and organizations that are helping to eliminate food insecurity. So we like to encourage people to take advantage of those options. SNAP or WIC if you're eligible for SNAP or WIC. Health insurance is now starting to provide cards where you can buy groceries with your insurance card. So consider talking to your health insurance and seeing if they have those benefits for you. Don't let those benefits sit on the table. So those are other ways to save. And then finally, here are some healthy meal options for you to consider. One thing I like to show you is like you can buy something like a rotisserie chicken, some frozen vegetables, and some rice, or even do the quinoa, and you can make multiple meals very easily with those particular different items. So I'm going to leave it at that, and I'm going to leave the floor open for any questions you may have. And you can connect with us. Here's our website if you want to use the QR code here to look for more information online, giantfood.com/healthy-living. We have webinars that you can access at any time at your convenience, and lots of other information. Okay.
Okay, can you talk a little bit about the difference between a sell-by date, a use-by date, a best used-by date? Which of those should we pay attention to, and which of them don't really mean anything?
Okay, so those are just as they say, the sell-by, the best by. Notice it doesn't say expired by, right? So the sell-by date is just the date that is recommended for that product to be sold by the store. That's it. It means that it's going to be optimal quality before that date. And then after that date, the quality starts to decrease. That does not mean that it's not safe to eat, though, right? That just means that it's not optimal quality, but it's still 100% safe to eat. And so I would consider, I'm going to send you a document that has like after the sell by date, how long after the sell by date for specific items that the food is still good for. And you can share that to your audience because I think that's useful information. But just know usually for most products, it's like weeks after that sell by date or best by date, that it's still safe to eat. So, yeah. And I know, like in California, there's like, they just made a law where they're not even going to incorporate those dates anymore just because, you know, they're, they're very like just for quality, not necessarily for food safety. And a lot of food goes to waste because a lot of people they see the date and then they throw it away. So, yeah, that's a great question. Any other
If
questions?
if you've got a piece of fruit and it's starting to get a little bit of mold on it, is it okay to just trim that off and eat the rest of it, or is it all spoiled? You just can't tell yet.
No, it is 100% okay. The only time I would say be cautious is when you're dealing with berries, because the berries have the little spores that can jump to other berries. So if you have some moldy berries, I would say do away with like half of the berries that are surrounded about that, which is usually about half the bin, and then the others are safe to keep as long as you don't see any mold on the other ones. But no, 100% good, still good. Same with cabbage. You see that the browning leaves, just take the browning leaves off. Yeah, it's still good. Those are great questions.
I
Any other questions for me?
was going to ask about cheese. Are there
Mhm.
particular types that you would recommend, or that you would say, yeah, only in very small quantities?
I was gonna say for most cheeses, I would say just use the recommended 1 ounce. I would say about 1 ounce per day, which is like one of those slices, or we like to say the size of four dice. You know, the dice you roll, four dice. Imagine four of those. That's like one serve. That's 1 ounce of cheese. But you can do things like, depending on what, like if you want to reduce your saturated fat, you can do something like a feta cheese, but you have to be careful. Feta cheese has more sodium. So cheese is a tough one. If you just want the cheese flavor, you can do something like Parmesan cheese. It doesn't have as much saturated fat. Or if you want to just go wholly vegan, you can do something like nutritional yeast, which has a cheesy kind of flavor. So yeah. So, but in general, most cheeses just stick to the serving size.
Okay. Well, it's 11:01. Um,
Yeah.
Getting a lot of comments thanking you and saying how much they enjoyed the presentation. There's a
Great.
lot of information in here, and I think we're all glad to have heard it.
Great. Well, thank you for having me. Gary, I will get to you that document with the information about how long after the sell by date you can still eat a particular food item. Um, and yeah, I
Oh, I
am
did
really
have
grateful.
one last question. Are
Mhm.
there any days or times when there are senior discounts available?
Oh, I don't know. And that is a great question. So I am fairly new at Giant. This is my 5th month. So I'm fairly new and I have to look into that. That's a great question. I will find that out and I will send that to you with
All right.
the handout. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you
Well,
again.
yep. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.
I am